the context in which one has to put this is common prosperity, which is what President Xi Jinping has designed and decreed as being the next stage of the development of the Chinese economic architecture. So you can take it that the whole attitude towards wealth creation, towards the private sector has changed. And within this, the big idea is, of course, that we create a lot of new, happy middle-class people who have affordable housing and affordable healthcare and affordable education, and are therefore happy citizens. And in order to do this, you need to make sure that housing is for living in. It is not for speculation or for investment, and that's more or less a quote from President Xi Jinping himself. So this idea has come up in what he has been saying several times in very recent speeches, declarations, commentaries by him. So it is not something which is going to be left to local authorities to put into practice or local governments. It is something which they will have to do because it is coming from the top, and therefore it will happen.
Okay. So yeah, it's one of the, I guess, beauties, if you want to call that, of a command economy, right?
Totally.
Common prosperity, common prosperity, good for the middle class. I mean, that is the intended constituency, the target, right? Crucially important for the Chinese Communist Party. On the other hand, with this property tax, are they also saying, as they are doing with Jack Ma and his ilk, billionaires, look, if it hurts you, too bad. You can afford to lose that billion or two.
Oh, well, completely. I mean, look, it is a little unfair to say this is simply the sort of thing that happens in the development of an economy, which is a Marxist-Leninist economy and political organization, because after all, Martin, it happened in the United States once upon a time, long before you were born. You had the robber barons, the J.P. Morgans of this world, who behaved with impunity and exaggerated and sort of wealth effects. And this has come to an end in China because it is now a political liability. So it is, in fact, though it is decreed from the top and will happen from the top, yes, it is the end of the sort of robber baron period of Chinese economic development. And what we are saying is that to put it in a metaphorical sense, purely, of course, the really rich, visible people are decapitated, economically speaking, of course, only. And they end up by going on sailing holidays to Spain if they're lucky. But the economy becomes much more of a redistributive economy, which in a sense gives its profits and capital wealth in part to the state through taxation and controls, and the state passes it on to create the common prosperity of the middle classes. But the high-profile personalities of the capitalistic era, the idea that a black cat or a white cat doesn't matter as long as it creates money, which trickles down and lifts people out of prosperity, out of poverty into prosperity, that sort of black-white cat period is well and truly buried at the end of the garden, and I'm very sorry for the kitty cat.
David, if all of this is decreed from on high by Beijing, then are they going to decree how Evergrande is going to be restructured? And will it be restructured as a vehicle to generate more affordable housing? And if so, and if the speculators are going to be taken out of the property sector, does it make it more investable in the longer term for patient capital?
It might make more investment possible or attractive in terms of buying cranes and bulldozers, which will be creating this sort of affordable housing. But it makes the investment in the real estate sector, which was in a sense profitable, not so much because of its economic contribution, but because of its exaggerated economic rents. That is over. So essentially you're choosing the caterpillars of this world rather than, and I don't mean the insect, I mean the bulldozers of this world, rather than the kind of high-profile tycoon-controlled organization. So it's a different type of investment. It still results in economic growth. It still results in housing, but the way you invest in it is very different. And I would add one more thing, that the need of China for foreign capital in order to achieve this common prosperity is much reduced. I think, of course, the state will decide what happens to Evergrande. And I think we won't probably even remember its name in 2 years, but I doubt very much if it's going to, suddenly pop up again as one of China's great big electric vehicle producers, because there are plenty of more competent companies in that space.